Today we're going to take a ride through Table Rock State Park. Table Rock State Park is located right off of Highway 11 in the very western part of South Carolina. And we're going to start with the Mountain Laurel Campground. After that, we'll go over and ride through the White Oaks Campground. But we'll start here at the store. Nice little store, the usual t-shirts and hats, and then camping essentials. The dump station is right here at the store. And the first few sites are nice, easy, big sites, easy to back into. First site is the campground host. Site number 2, again, easy back in, a little bit downhill off the road, but the site is level. Nice size site. Site 3, another easy back in, a little bit downhill in, but not much. It's a little downhill all the way in, but not bad. There's a little creek in the back. Very quiet creek. A little bit downhill towards the passenger side, but not bad. They do not have dumpsters around here. All they have is the bear-proof trash cans. Site 4 is downhill in, but the site itself is pretty level. Site 5 is another campground host, but is for rent. It's downhill all the way in. As a campground host site, it does have sewer. This one backs up all the way to the creek. I guess stream is probably a better term for it. It's a little downhill all the way into the site, but not bad. Site 6 is also a campground host. It is downhill all the way in, but still not bad. Site 7, another back in, downhill. Another decent sized site. All these along this first road are about the same. I mean, they have the creek in the back. Decent width. They're all downhill towards the creek just a little bit, but not bad. And easy to get to. But they are right on the main road into the campground, and there are some amenities back up behind the campground. Site 8. A little smaller than the others, but still an easy back in. Still has the creek behind it. The power and water for this one is all the way at the front. There's kind of a bump to get up and in. And the front of this site has the bridge that goes over the creek towards the rest of the campsite. So it's subject to have a good bit of traffic, foot traffic, and you're right on the road. As I said, the road goes to the rest of the campground. It also goes to the Pinnacle Pavilion and the Palmetto Trail. So then we'll turn over here and come into the main campground. Site 9 is an easy back in, a nice level site. Site 10 is a pull through. Nice level site, easy in, easy out. Still right on the creek. Site 11 is a back in. It's uphill in, not too bad. Trees are a little close on either side. It's uphill when you get back into the site, and you do kind of back right up to your neighbor. And site 12 is a pull through. Got a whole crowd of folks in tents using 10 and 12. It's a little bit uphill coming out, but the site itself looks pretty level. Site 13 is downhill all the way in. Doesn't look like it has much cross slope. Lots of grassy area behind the site. Site 14 is a little bit downhill in. It's got a little cross slope down to the passenger side. The water is on the back and looks like it's been hit once or twice. Alright, site 15 has the motorhome in it. It's downhill all the way in. A fairly steep downhill at the beginning. Site 16 has the Class C in it. It is downhill a little bit all the way in. Looks like it has a little cross slope down towards the driver's side. A nice tent area outside. All right, I'm gonna hit them out of order just because it's easier. Site 18 is a back end. It's a little bit downhill. The site itself looks pretty level and has a really nice outdoor area down away from the campsite a little bit. Nice tent pad. Whole lot of outdoor area there. But this site is close to, I don't know whether you can see it in the camera or not, but there is a road back in the woods a little bit that is the main road through the state park. It gets a lot of traffic going to the hiking trails, to the lake, and to the lodge. So there's a lot of traffic on it. In the summertime it may not be very loud, but in the wintertime the sound carries through the lack of foliage very well. It is loud. Anyway, site 17, it's a little bit downhill all the way in. Site looks like it's kind of crowned, so there's a little bit of slope down towards both sides, and it is downhill all the way in. A decent outdoor area. Very open to the campground loop road. Right, site 19 is downhill all the way in and cross slope down towards the passenger side. It's pretty steep to start and then it levels off some, but it is downhill all the way in. Site 20 is downhill all the way in. It looks to have a good bit of cross slope down towards the passenger side. 21, it actually looks like it's uphill a little bit in, and then levels off. Good bit of cross slope down towards the passenger side. Site 22 looks to be fairly level front to back, but a lot of cross slope down towards the passenger side. A decent outdoor area. And then we head up to the upper loop. And I think this sign is fairly accurate. There are a couple of really tight turns at the end of the loop. All right, site 23. It's back in. It's downhill all the way in. A little bit of cross slope down to the passenger side. Not a bad outdoor area. you are right next to this road. Still got vehicles coming uphill with a whole lot of gas to make it up the hill. Site 24 is another back in. Downhill all the way in. Kind of a narrow site. With these railroad ties on both sides, the outdoor area off the back, and power is off the back. Water is on the side. Site 25 is a pull through, kind of narrow site. A fairly hard turn all the way around. Decent outdoor area, but the road in the background is the main road into the park to get to all the hiking trails and the lake, and it gets to be very busy at times. So it's not a very quiet campsite. Now the exit of this campsite is very much uphill, and there is a tree right in the corner, so it would have to be a small camper to back in or to pull through. But across the street, I don't know if you can see it with the sun, is one of the bathhouses. Another nice bathhouse. All right, 26 is a back in. Fairly easy to line up, but it is downhill all the way in. Cross slope down to the passenger side, and it's a pretty good slope all the way in, even at the back of the site, before it dives off down to the road. Site 27 is the campground host with this big motorhome in it. And site 28 is a pull through. It's a tight entrance. Opens up pretty nicely. And then the exit is pretty tight. But a decent outdoor area. A nice view down on the road as it heads on down towards the lake. The sign for this part of the campground did say no large campers. I'm not so sure that motorhome that belongs to the host isn't going to have to back out to get out of here. There's a couple of really tight turns towards the end of this loop. Site 30 is a pull through. Again, hard turns in the middle of it, but this one's actually pretty flat when you get into it. Decent outdoor area. And as I said, pretty flat both ways. A little bit uphill all the way through, but not much. 31 is a back end that is downhill in. Pretty much downhill all the way in. And the very back appears to be flat, but also holds water. And we are right next to some sort of outdoor area in a covered area. Site 32 is a back in. Pretty level all the way in. Good bit of cross slope down to the passenger side. Tiny little outdoor area. And all this seems to have new gravel on them. This new gravel makes it hard to ride a bicycle on it. And this is 33. A little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side, fairly flat in the sight. And you are right next to whatever this outdoor building is. Outdoor area is not very big, and the campground loop is right next to it. Site 34 is a back end. I'm sorry about the wind if you can hear it. Site 34 is downhill all the way in. Kind of a short site. A little bit more outdoor area than the last two. 35 is a decent sized back end site. And that's probably as big a camper as I would want to try to get up in here. 36 is a pull through. It shares an entrance with 35. It's fairly level, a little bit of downhill on the driver's side, and it is a little uphill getting out, but not too bad. It is a narrow site, at least at the exit. 37 is a back end. Fairly level. It's a little uphill in and a little downhill once you're in. Kind of a muddy site. A decent outdoor area and a good bit of space off the site that's fairly level. And this site does not appear to have gotten any of the new gravel. And site 39 is a pull through. Also looks like it might be an easy back end from the other side because it is a really hard turn in the middle of the site. A decent outdoor area and a good bit of space outside the designated site. But again, a hard turn, but as a back end site, not bad. Okay, now we're going to drop back to 38, which is a back end. Nice long site. A little downhill in. I think once you're all the way in the site, it's pretty level with a little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side. And a decent outdoor area. And now we'll jump back up to 40, which is a pull through. It's a long pull through. Very narrow site coming in. A good bit of cross slope down towards the passenger side. It's a little bit downhill in, but once you're in the site, a little uphill, and then it's more uphill to get out. And the turn gets much sharper as you get through. And we've got some of the new gravel in here. And 43 shares its entrance with the exit of that. Let's see, this one should be 42. All right, so site 42 is a back end. Got a trick, kind of a strange site. It is downhill all the way towards the back. A little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side. Decent outdoor area, but all kind of a weird site. And it is right next to the bathhouse. And 43, the pull through. Not too bad in. Fairly level. Kind of a hard turn out. And 44 is occupied. It's an easy back in off the road. It's uphill all the way in, but the site itself is pretty level. But there is cross slope down to the passenger side. 46 looks like it was a pull through, but they added a light pole in the middle, so it's a back in. It looks like a fairly easy back in. It's uphill in. The site itself is pretty level. A little bit of cross slope down to the passenger side. And somebody is occupying one of the sites I just looked at with a fairly small camper, which is a good thing. Okay, and that was site 46. So this must be 47, and they had a tree fall through the site, so they've made a little bit of a mess out of it. It's supposed to be pull through, but with the damage, it's really not a pull through anymore. It's kind of a back in. Downhill all the way in. The site itself, once you're in, is kind of, you're in the bottom of the ditch. So it's downhill all the way in, uphill all the way out. And I really don't know what number that site is, but the next one is 47, which is a pull through. A little bit downhill all the way in. Kind of a steep drop off on the outside with fresh gravel. It's kind of slick on the outside. And then a pretty good turn to get back up and out, and it is uphill and out. Hi, and site 49 is a campground host site. It is a back in, it is a steep drive back up in. The site itself gets pretty level when you're up here. Not very big, but it is pretty level when you get up here. A decent outdoor area. And because it's a campground host, it does have sewer. But it is currently not listed as a campground host site. They have covered up that part of the sign, so it is available for rent. And site 50 is a back in, pretty easy back in, downhill all the way in, but not too bad. A little cross slope down to the passenger side. And site 51, I'm not sure whether it's really a pull through or not, but the label is back at the pull through side. I'm not real sure what you get here. I don't know how you'd back in. I think this might just be tent only. There's not much level, full of roots. And you're certainly not going to back in here from anything, not with a trailer of any sort. .52 is a back in. downhill all the way in and down to the passenger side as well. There's nothing level in here at all, but you can go down to the bottom of the hill there, and there's a flat spot for a tent. And I think this is probably one of those that's really only intended for a tent. And now, because of the way I have come in and out of the sights, we're going to back up here a little bit and look at this turn. And this is one of the turns that I would say if you had a decent sized trailer or motorhome, you might have a hard time with. The trees on the outside of the turn make it very hard to turn wide, and this tree on the inside, the roots look like they've had a rough life. And then when we get down here, there's a hard right turn with a big hole on the right hand side. All right, 53 is a back in. Pretty steep up in. Not a very big site. Bathhouse up on the hill right above it. The site, once you're in, is a little bit uphill all the way in, but not much at all. Maybe a little slope down to the passenger side. But it is a steep gravel drive up and in. Okay, and site 55 is a back end. It's uphill into the site, but the site itself is pretty level. A little outdoor area behind the site that is holding water nicely. 56 is pretty steep uphill in. The site itself is pretty level. 57 is a pull through. Ooh, bright sun. The site's pretty level. Looks like it's got a little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side, and it's a steep downhill out. Fairly steep anyway. 58 is pretty steep back in. It's an easy thing to line up to. Pretty steep coming up and in. Once you're in, the site itself is pretty level. It's actually holding water in the back. A nice little outdoor space, but not much room in your outdoor area. Uh, 60 is uphill in, but not too bad. The site itself is fairly level. It's a little uphill in, but not bad. Fairly level. Another small outdoor area, again, right on the road. The 61 is a pull through. A little rutted as you get into it. Good bit of cross slope down to the driver's side. A little bit of outdoor area, not much. You get a two-man backpacking tent in that, and that's about it. And this is a very steep gravel drive down to get out. .62 is a back in uphill. It's fairly steep uphill all the way in, a long uphill. And the site itself, when you get up here, it's fairly level. It's still a little bit uphill, but not much. And a nice outdoor area. .63 is a back in. It's pretty square to the road. It's uphill all the way in, and the site itself is pretty level. 64, another uphill a little bit in. The site's pretty level once you get there. right across from the bathhouse. Again, nice bathhouses. 65 is an easy in. It's pretty level all the way through. Nice outdoor area. 66 is an easy in. Looks pretty level. Not a very big outdoor area, but again, pretty level and easy to get in and out of, and right across from the bathhouse. Uh, 67 doesn't really exist anymore. We do have power there and water, but that site isn't numbered and doesn't really exist. 68 is a really big level site. It is very level, nice tent pad at the back, little outdoor area to the side. Nice big site, but it is very steep to get in. They've added a concrete pad at the bottom to help with traction, but that's a steep site to get into. And 71, little uphill in, but the site itself looks pretty level once you're there. 72 looks pretty level with a good bit of cross slope down to the passenger side, but a nice outdoor area close to the little creek. Site 73 is a pull through. It is uphill all the way in and all the way through. Good bit of outdoor area, but nothing flat. And 74 is uphill in. The site doesn't look like it's too bad once you get there, and it is right next to one of the bathhouses. 75. Getting in is kind of a hard turn. When the road heads downhill and turns to the left, and you got to back into the left into the campsite, the site drops off the road a little bit, and it is downhill all the way in. But it's a decent outdoor area. Again, downhill all the way in, and a little bit of downhill on the driver's side. But this is on the cut-through road to the lower half of the campground. And that's the end of the Mountain Laurel Loop. And now we'll go over to the White Oak Loop and see the rest of the campground. All right, and we're going to continue our ride with the White Oaks campground. All right, and we'll start with this gravel loop. It starts at site 76, which is right here on the road, but is a pull through. 77 is kind of a pull through back in whatever. Again, right on this little gravel road. But not a lot of traffic will be on this gravel road. 78, nice little pull in site and pull through back in, kind of whatever, the little creek beside it. Not a lot of outdoor area, but nice and level. And again, with a really nice little creek running right along the side of it. 79 is a back in, uphill all the way through, right next to the bathhouse. Nice looking bathhouses. Okay, and site 81 doesn't really exist anymore. It's kind of overflow parking, I guess, now. 82 is this site with a tent on it. Looks level, but kind of awkward to twist your way into, but nice tent site. 83 is an easy back in. Fairly level site once you're in. Okay. 84 is an easy back in. Looks pretty level. 85. A little bit of cross slope coming in. Once you're all the way in the site, it's pretty level, but it's not very big. '86 is another little back in. Looks like it's got a little bit of cross slope down to the driver's side. 87, it's a little bit downhill all the way in, but not much. Otherwise pretty level. And the site 80 is a back in. Looks level once you're in. It's not too much of a hill into it. Okay, this is site 88 that is a pull through. Power and water are on the wrong side unless you come at it from the other end. And this is, I think, potentially a two-way street. Not a lot of outdoor area. And 89, I think, is pull through from the upper side of the loop where you can back in, or I think you have lots of options of how to get into this site. It is downhill towards the front of the vehicle. A little bit of cross slope down to the passenger side. And pretty good downhill to get out of the site. And starting with site 88, we are paved again. All right, site 90 is a handicap site. Looks very level. Nice concrete pad. Power and water back here at the back. Right, and these are 50 amp sites in the White Oak Campground. Site 91 is also concrete. Nice level site. Easy access to the bathhouse. It's a very nice bathhouse. And they have showers, toilets. There is heat. This time of year, that's really nice. Site 92 is the host site. Looks level. Nice outdoor area. 93 is a pull through. Power and water are on the wrong side. A little bit of, well, a good bit of cross slope down to the passenger side and uphill towards the front of the site. Across the street we have an old water fountain and the campground campfire area. At 94, it's easy to back in. It's downhill all the way in. Kind of falls off all around the site. And back here at the back, it's pretty good drop off to go back down to the creek. All right, 95, the back end looks like a good bit of slope across to the driver's side, but nice size site. 96 is a pull through. Power and water are on the wrong side. Ooh, I hope you can see anything with the bright sunshine. 97 is a pull through. It is steep up in. Power and water are on the wrong side. And this is a one-way loop around here, so you kind of have to go the right direction. Not a lot of outdoor area. And pretty steep and rough going back down and out. And 98 is also a pull through. It's uphill in. Once you're in, it's downhill all the way through. A good bit of cross slope down to the driver's side. A lot of nice woods, but nothing flat. And site 99 is I don't know that you do anything other than a tent. And the site is downhill towards the road, a little bit of downhill towards the passenger side. And nothing flat. And the only way in is down here next to site 100. And it's got a heck of a rut in it. And site 100's got a pretty good flat spot for a tent. But otherwise not much space. And that is the end of our ride through Table Rock State Park. And that is the end of the ride through the White Oak Campground at Table Rock State Park. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend camping.